Hi there everybody, it's Martin Twycross here, bringing you another live stream, another question answer mediumship clinic. So this is something I do every month, enables you to ask me any questions you have on mediumship, development, any other topics. If you're hearing me loud and clear, do type in the chat box and let me know. So as always, I do the live Q&A mediumship clinic to bring you my practical down-to-earth teachings, trying to dispel the myths, cut out the fluff, all of that. So the way it works is you post questions in the chat box and I will work through them one at a time. And if you would like your question answered earlier, you can do that. You can make a donation through Super Chat. That's should be a little dollar box at the bottom of the chat box. You need to be signed in to Google or to YouTube to be able to post your questions, and you need to have an account, of course, to be able to do a super chat. If you do a super chat, I will get to your question next. If you would like to donate to support the channel, if you enjoy my teachings, you can do that via Super Thanks, which is a little new feature of YouTube that they've added. And also I have a PayPal Me link as well that will scroll across the screen that you will see on the bottom there, and you can use that as well. And since the last time I was on, for those of you who've purchased from me before, I used to have a website and a store, separate store as well. But my store supplier let me know that they're closing their store down. So I've had to consolidate it all into one. So it's now all on my website, martintwycross.com. So if you click on the old store link, it will just take you back to my website. So if you think it looks different, it doesn't look the same, that is why. And I will just quickly bring up for you, I can just quickly bring up an image of my website. That's what it currently looks like. That's the new website. So it does have an inbuilt store feature, and it's totally been rebuilt from the ground up as well. So do check it out, take a look at it. I will be running a sale very soon on the site, a new website sale. Summer sale, so I will be putting some discounts up on there, so do check those out as well. So I'm hoping that you can all hear me. I'm hoping that you have joining me. I can't see any comments in the box, but please do type in the chat box if you're hearing me loud and clear, if you're getting what I'm saying. I'd hate to be talking to myself. That wouldn't be much fun at all, would it? So yeah, let me know that you are hearing me okay. That would be useful. And do load up the chat with questions as well. I do have a few questions I want to get stuck into straight away, actually, because I do get quite a lot of questions asked of me behind the scenes. And generally, I route people to this live Q&A because I don't really have the time to get into people's questions in any degree of detail. So I normally route them to bring their questions along to these sessions. I think that's reasonable. But I do get to hear an awful lot of the same questions time and time again. So I thought I'd answer a couple of frequently asked questions at the beginning here whilst we're waiting for a few questions to be loaded up. So welcome to Tyrone and Eileen. Wonderful that you can hear me. That's good to know. Always good to know. So a very common question I get to hear is that there's a lot of phenomena going on around me. I've got a lot of spirits in my house bothering me, and how do I stop it? And my first point is how do you actually know it's spirit? We will often project a lot of things and make them the spirit world. If you're worried about negative or evil spirits, anything that happens in your home, you'll project it. If your heating system starts knocking, oh, that's spirit. If it's cold in your house, there's a cold spot, oh, that's spirit. When no, it's just that radiator is not as effective as the other one. So we have to understand that a great deal of phenomena is natural. A great deal of phenomena isn't spirit at all. I'd say the vast majority is not spirit. So, and then secondly, we can get psychic phenomena. If you've got psychic abilities, if you've got a gift, and often you'll find that when people have strong psychic abilities, we do get some degree of psychic phenomena around them, and it's not spirit yet again. So, you know, even the extreme examples of, for for example, Matthew Manning was he had a huge amount of physical phenomena around him, but mainly because he had a lot of abilities, psychic and mediumistic abilities that weren't being focused. So usually what happens when people start to develop, it all starts to settle down. That's quite important to recognize. So the vast majority of cases, I'd say it's not even spirit. It's either going to be just natural phenomena or a psychic phenomena. And generally, once you bring discipline to the equation with your psychic development, things just tend to settle down. Absolutely. Then secondly, so if it was spirit, then generally it would be your loved ones. Or it would, if you have, say, a spirit in a home, it's to be someone who lived there, but who has positive intent. So, you know, it's not going to be a negative thing. There is a wonderful video on my Gordon Higginson tribute YouTube channel, a story with Gordon Higginson, a news story. And he went along to investigate a pottery haunting that all the people in the pottery were really worried about this, all the phenomena happening and feeling a spirit there. And when he went along there and communicated with his spirit, it turned out to be the lady who worked there and knew all these ladies. And she was just wanting to return to be close to her friends, to be close to a workplace, to be close to a place she loved. It's not that she's not trying to terrorize anybody at all. And in my experience, a great deal of it is like that. So that's the important point to recognize. So welcome to B-Tone and to Sue and to Jane. Great that you can join us. So another very common question people say is, I've got all this phenomena around me. How do I shut down? How do I prevent it from happening? And, you know, how do I turn my chakras off? And I do have a video called Do Mediums Need to Close Down? I will route you to that. And quite simply, are mediums always on and always receiving? Generally not, no. But if you have a subconscious desire to be receiving information, you can get it, absolutely. But I teach discipline. You're either on or you're off, you're either working or you're not. And the only time to really be working is when you're in circle, is when you're in classes, is when you're sitting for spirit, is when you're doing readings or doing platform. Any other time you don't need to be on. So learn to turn it off. It's like a button. It's either on or off. Don't be the leaky tap medium, just getting bits and pieces and trying to work with it all the time. Don't do it. And can you turn your chakras off? Absolutely not. I have no idea how you would do that. I don't do chakras. Again, check out The Mediums Need to Close Down. And people tell me I've got all these portals in my house and it's causing spirits to appear in my house. I don't believe in that at all, I'm afraid. I don't believe in portals and being places where the spirit world come forward. Now, some people tell me, well, I've got evil and bad spirits. And again, as I said to you before, that usually is our own projection. Have I ever come across an evil or bad spirit in this world as a medium? The answer is no, I haven't. People have told me there's evil and bad spirits, but I've gone along and I've not found nothing. Or I've gone along and it's one of their loved ones and they're not evil or bad at all, unless it didn't like them, in which case they might be a little bit bad, but generally not at all. And people say, oh, you know, I've got all these problems in my house. I need to get someone to come along and to rescue all these spirits or to move them all on or to get rid of them. And the thing I would say is that with spirit rescue, I don't get the need for it. I really don't. The spirit world can take care of their own. If there's an issue, send your thoughts to the spirit world to resolve it. If there's an issue with spirits bothering you, your own guides would fix it. If there's an issue with spirit bothering you, the spirit world would take care of it. If you send the thoughts to spirit and nothing happens, then generally it's not of spirit at all. But generally, in my experience, spirit don't bother us neither. So hopefully there's some points there that may help people, because that's a very common question. So I don't know if you've got some questions building up for me. Let me have a little look. B-Tone, I'm interested in taking your Great Mediums the Past course and was wondering how to go about payment. I'm from the States, so I have US dollars. So basically, you can just go onto my website. It's on my website, it's priced in pounds. But if you pay through PayPal and you have a PayPal account, it should convert it to your local currency. And that's how it would work. There's a Stripe a credit card payment through Stripe as well. But I don't know if Stripe will convert it to your local currency. So what may happen is it may come through, if you use credit card payment, it may come through on your bill as Great British pounds, and then you may end up, the credit card company converts it for you, and they'll add a little fee in as well. Most people add a fee, and even PayPal adds a fee in, I'm afraid. So you can check that out. It's not too challenging, I don't think, to do. So hopefully that helps answer your question. I keep losing my... Let me get the chat box. Okay, next question. Tyrone, I've become aware of my main guide and she teaches me about healing. Have you any advice on spiritual healing? Is Reiki even necessary? Spiritual healing is a massive subject. It's huge. I've got a video on spiritual healing where I talk about it for 2.5 hours. I have a video on trance healing, which is another 2.5 hours. So I also have, it's part of my special module on the study program, that module, the special module there on healing, inspiration and trance. So there's 4 classes within that on healing as well. So there's a huge amount of information on healing. And, you know, unless you've got a really specific question about healing, it's such a huge topic. I would probably route you to my videos if you want to know more about how to do spirit healing, how to learn it, because, as I say, really there's so much in it. But is Reiki even necessary? No, Reiki is a form of spiritual healing, but it's not the form of spiritual healing that I practice. I actually did do Reiki 1 and 2 before I became a spiritualist healer. And I just work with the spirit world now. It's much easier. You don't need symbols. You don't need to complicate things. We just attune to spirit, let the healing flow. And I get better results than I ever did with Reiki. Not that I'm knocking Reiki, not at all. If that's all you can find and learn, that's fine, absolutely. And Reiki does work, absolutely. But for me, spiritual healing has greater potential and I prefer it. I'm a big fan of Harry Edwards. His book, A Guide to the Understanding and Practice of Spiritual Healing, is excellent. You can't go wrong with that, really. So I'm a big fan of the old school style of teaching healing. And what I loved about Harry Edwards was he basically said that everything you do not need that overcomplicates the process, he tried to strip out just to get it all down to its bare bones. And pretty much my teachings totally reflect Harry Edwards. I'm with him all the way. I love Harry Edwards. So if you bought anything of mine, yeah, it'd be a lot like Harry Edwards for sure. But yeah, if you want to learn to do healing, then you'll need to find some organization where you can do training. You need to understand about the ethics and responsibilities, about touching, about no-go areas, all that kind of thing. The SNUI, the SNU offers healing. I'm an SNU approved healer, and the SNU offer that healing. They offer a training program through SNUI. I highly recommend that if you can't find anything else. You'll need to do 50 healing sessions. You'll need to attend training sessions. And over time, then it builds up, and then you get assessed at the end of it, and you become appointed as a healer. But of course, healing is natural. Everyone can do healing. You don't need a piece of paper or a qualification, but you do need to have some understanding of the ethics and responsibilities, and you do need to have some understanding of what you should and shouldn't be doing, because there are so many horror stories where people have done things in healing that they shouldn't. And that's the important part. We have to work to a standard. So hopefully that all makes sense. So yeah, if you've got questions, please do pop them in the chat box. Please do add them in there. So Jane, can I ask please why I sometimes feel like my team guides have left me? It actually feels like a bereavement to me. So the thing about all spirit work is that we go through phases where it works well and where it doesn't. We go through phases where mediumship itself works well or doesn't, where inspiration works well or doesn't. Even with things like trance mediumship, there's times when it doesn't work as well as it has in the past. It's got error bars. It can go either way. So it's important to recognize that. And whenever we're in a difficult place, emotionally, mentally, even physically, that can affect it as well. That can affect our connection to spirit. That can affect how we perceive things. Now, your guides and helpers are not going to leave you. No way. Doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Why would they leave you? Why would they say, right, we've had enough, we're off. I tell you what, let's worry them a little bit. Let's go and leave them. No. Your family, from the spirit world, they're your family. They support you. They're not going to say, oh, no, we're going to disown you now. Of course not. It's the same with spirit guides. So for me, the spirit world is constant. And in that, I include the guides, the team of guides and helpers. Now, can your guides change? Absolutely. Of course they can. Just like as you progress through school, you don't stick with your kindergarten teacher. You don't stick with your junior school teacher when you get to your secondary school or your comprehensive school or whatever it's called locally for you. You're not working with the same teachers. And when you go to university or college level, it's different yet again. So different teachers come at different times. It's the same with guides. As we progress with our work, different ones can come in, but we'll have main guides who are generally there throughout. There's been very few examples of main guides changing. It is possible, but very, very, very rare. And even then, if a main guide changed, they'd still be part of the team that work with you, even if they were no longer the main guide. So your guides are constant. They have no interest in abandoning you. So what I would say is, Jane, basically, what it means is your connection with them is different. That's what I'm saying. Because they're a constant. If how we perceive them changes, then things are changing within us, within our awareness, within our connection, within our ability to link. That's the important thing to recognize. I know for sure with myself that if you're going through a difficult time mentally or emotionally or under a great deal of stress, that affects your link with spirit. And with that, I mean mediumship. And with that, I also mean your guides and helpers as well. So they're important things to recognize. So hopefully that all makes sense. I'm hoping that helps answer your question. And Tyrone, you've asked how you're getting on with your book. I'm looking forward to it. So it's still ongoing. It's still work in progress. It will probably be early next year, I'm hoping. It takes a lot longer to write a book than you imagine. The late medium Glyn Edwards, he wrote that it took him 10 years to write his first book. So I'm hoping mine won't take that long. But everybody I know who's written a book has always told me it's a lot more to it than you think there is. And there is. So yeah. So there we go. It will happen. It will definitely happen. But we'll just have to wait and be patient. Okay, next question. B-turn. Is it possible to link with your own loved ones in spirit, or does it work best if you go to another medium for a reading? Now, I have a whole video on that called Can a Medium Link to Their Own in Spirit? And when I first published it, some people thought I was saying that you cannot link to your own, and I wasn't saying that at all. So can I link to my own loved ones? Yes, but not the same as I can link to other people's loved ones. Because when I'm linking to my own, I know my loved ones, but I also have subconscious needs and desires, and even conscious needs and desires, which can interfere with the process. So what happens is our own imagination can come in much stronger with our own. And the thing is, I believe that there's actually a pressure relief type valve that we cannot link with our own the same way we can link with others. Because if I could link with my own the same way I can link with everybody else's loved ones, I wouldn't bother linking with anybody else's if I was honest. If I could link with my own loved ones in spirit and have that powerful connection that I can get with other people's, I wouldn't bother working for anybody else at all. I'd just stay permanently connected to my own. And that wouldn't be helpful. So I believe it's deliberate, that the way we link with our own it's almost like more at a distance. It's almost not as strong because it's deliberate so that we don't become dependent upon it. So that's important to recognize. And when we work for other people, they give us feedback. They give us validation. They give us verification that what we say in terms of the information we give is accurate. When you yourself link to your own loved ones and you feel you're getting messages from them, how do you know that truly is from them? You have nobody to validate it. Your own mind knows how their mind thinks because you're close to them. Your own mind can create the message it really wants to hear. So you're far better off, if you want to hear from your own loved ones, to go for a private sitting with another medium, a good medium, hopefully. And hopefully they will bring through your loved ones. But you'll not be able to connect with them quite so easy as it is to connect with other people. So it's important to recognize that. Some people say to me, oh, I want to do mediumship so I can link to my own all the time. And mediumship is a process, a gift that is used to help other people. It's not there to help us, not there to help ourselves. And that's why I believe another reason why it doesn't work so strongly. So do check out my video on can a medium link with their own. I will put a link in it in the comments and description, probably within the next 24 hours. But the simple answer is yes, you can, but not to the same degree. That's important to recognize. Jane, thank you so much. That is such a great help. Glad to be of assistance. Just me. What if we can do many things such as healing, mediumship, psychic? Do we work on one or all when developing? Now, unless you are really, really, really old, like for example, I had a guy in his 80s come to development classes with me. And once, you know, at that age, you probably haven't got the rest of your life to spend taking it easy in your development. So, you know, depends on how much longer you've got within this world. And, but if, you know, if you're relatively young, if you're in your 50s, 60s, or even 70s, you've got some time to develop it. Absolutely. And in this day and age, people are living longer and longer anyway. So yes, there's a whole raft of different things. The general progression taken by most people in the development of mediumship would be developing mediumship and inspiration kind of almost at the same time, or mediumship then inspiration. Inspiration is inspirational speaking or inspirational writing. And then later down the line, people will bring in healing or bring in trance. However, I know many people who've developed healing or trance first. There's no hard and fast rules. Remember that to develop something, you've got to give it the time, the effort, the dedication it needs. If you're not excited about something, you're not going to give it the time, the effort, the dedication it needs. When I first started, I was very excited about all areas of mediumship. I would want to develop it all, really would. But I started doing mediumship and healing at the same time. And again, people say, oh, you can't develop mediumship and healing together. I remember when I was going for my assessment for my healing, the healing tutor said, oh, you're a medium, aren't you? I said, yeah. Oh, you can't be a healer and a medium at the same time. And I pointed out, well, what about Estelle Roberts? And what about Gordon Higginson? And Harry Edwards was a medium and a healer. So all the great mediums and all the great healers were all both. So how does that work? You didn't have an answer to that. So quite simply, you can. You just got to understand how to do them. So how I teach healing is completely different from how I teach mediumship. And the states you're in for both are not the same. And this is where people get stuck. I see people who come to healing, trying to do it from a mediumship point of view, and it won't work. I see people come to mediumship who've got experience in trance or healing, and they bring that passive energy to it, and it won't work for mediumship. So you have to understand the mechanics of each one separately and work differently. But you can do them all together in parallel. There are no issues in doing it. However, you've got to be able to give each one the dedication it needs. You can't dabble. If you dabble in all of it, you'll not progress. So really look at what you want to do. Psychic work is the precursor to mediumship, because mediumship uses the psychic faculties. Mediumship uses your psychic awareness. If you haven't developed the psychic, it will slow you down in mediumship. So focus on psychic first, and then move into mediumship, and then go wherever you want. And if you're really drawn to healing, start with that. Absolutely. Do them all. But remember, you've got the rest of your life. So the way I started was I did healing and mediumship in parallel, and inspirational speaking and writing. And then after I had a long gap then where I just worked mainly with healing and mediumship, and then I began to develop trance. And trance takes a lot longer to develop. It takes many years, decades even. And you know, but it's an extension of the working with spirit inspirationally, but really deepening it. The only area I really haven't worked with, and nor do I have a great inclination to work with, is physical mediumship, because I don't believe there's a strong potential there within me for it. I've had no real signs of it. So, and by now there should have been some. So that's an area that I probably won't develop because I'm too busy developing and working with everything else. So there you go. So hopefully that helps answer your question, just me. Okay, next question. Lisa, how can we better get to know our guides and know which loved ones in spirit are around communicating with us? So to develop, I'm going to take the second part first. Which loved ones in spirit are around or communicating with you? You've got to develop mediumship. You've got to develop your mediumship to do that. And as I said earlier, it's harder to feel our loved ones. It is. So it becomes harder to, even when you're a medium, sometimes it's like, who's this coming around me? I don't know. And it's not so easy to do with your own. So I wouldn't be too worried about that personally with your own. And when it comes to getting to know your guides, equally, you've got to do some development and be able to connect to the spirit world. But equally, I don't put a great deal of store in terms of having names for guides or having archetypes for guides. Really, all I do to get to know guides is to invite them to blend with me when I'm sitting for spirit and to feel their energy and to see what's different about the different ones, so I can recognize them by, if you like, their energy signature. That's the important part. Do I believe that guides are a fixed, or an archetype like a Native American or a nun or Egyptian? No, I don't actually. So I believe that pigeonholes them a little bit too much. So I don't look for that. Yes, we can see, is it a male or a female energy? Yeah, I get that. But I don't try and pigeonhole them into something they're not. But whatever you want them to be, they will appear as that, if that's how they need to come for you to accept them. Understand that. So, yeah. Now, at some stage, hopefully either later this year, beginning of next year, I will be running an online course all about guides and helpers, including tools, techniques to get to know your guides, to understand guides. So I will be going into that in an awful lot more detail. But ultimately, you've got to make the time to be accessible to them, and you've got to invite them to work with you. And the way you're going to work with them, as I say, is by sitting and asking them to blend, and by doing inspirational work, opening to inspiration from them through inspirational speaking or inspirational writing. That's really what you need. And in terms of my videos, I do have a video on guides and helpers, special topic 6. And special topic 7 is working with spirit inspiration, which is an extension of the guides and helpers 1, to talk about how we receive inspiration from the spirit world. They are also part of my study program, the special module on healing, inspiration and trance. So that kind of covers guides and helpers, working with spirit inspiration, then looks at healing, and then it looks at trance mediumship, and then it looks at trance healing. Trance mediumship really is getting to know your guides much more closely. That's the point. So I work as a trance medium myself, and trying to get information from the guides and helpers through inspiration is way, way harder than just allowing the guide to speak through you in trance. That's much more powerful, and you get to know your guides much better that way. So if you truly want to get to know your guides and helpers, trance is the route, but it will take time, a long time, decades even. So hopefully that helps you in some way. But set the intent. Simply set the intent and make the time to blend and make the time to receive information from them. And don't be too fixed and too rigid in your mindset. Don't try and pigeonhole them. Don't go chasing names. To this day, I do not know the names of my guides, even though they speak in trance. And they say names are not important. Recognize us by just going to hide a user. He's posting something they shouldn't be. Sorry about that. The excitement, eh? Yeah, so, you know, we've got to make the time for spirit. We've got to allow them to come close. We've got to set the intent. And we've got to keep that flexible mind. Not try and get names, not try and get archetypes. Just allow the relationship between you and them to build and grow naturally. Don't be in a rush. Hopefully that all makes sense. Okay. Next question. B-Tone, that makes a lot of sense. I appreciate the clarity. You're very welcome. So if you are enjoying the video, don't remember this Q&A, don't remember to hit the like button. If you do want to support the channel, you can make a donation through Super Chat, or you can make a donation through PayPal Me or Super Thanks. All donations gratefully received. I do these classes for free, but if you want to buy me a coffee or contribute, you're more than welcome. Or if you want to check out my courses, videos, study program, and avail yourself of the products that I offer, that's always appreciated as well. Peter, I purchased your excellent Confident Medium course, and it's helped me greatly. Thank you for making that available. Often refer to the meditation that you provide in that course. Yeah, that's a really interesting course. And the course you mentioned it's called the Confident Medium. And basically what I do with that course is I bring my knowledge as a hypnotherapist forward, all the knowledge I have about how the mind works to tackle confidence issues in mediumship, but also more generally. So we work big picture and then just focus it down to mediumship. And there is a meditation at the end that brings in all the tools that I teach in the course of affirmations and positive thinking and visualization, all those other tools that we teach within the course, and bring them all together into meditation that helps people. I know many, many people who say they love to do that meditation and it helps their mediumship. So yeah, glad you enjoyed it. Glad you like it. And if anyone else wants to have a look at that, you're more than welcome. So Peter, how can we handle readings that don't go so well? Sometimes it takes me days to recover from a less than accurate session. Well, first of all, understand that some readings won't work well. Some platform demonstrations will not work well. It's the nature of the beast. It's how mediumship is. Some days we're great and some days we're not. And what you want is that for your worst day to still be good, still be reasonable, but your best day to be really fabulous. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to move ourselves up from our worst day being lousy to our worst day being better to our worst day being fabulous. That's kind of where you're trying to go with it all. So that's the aim. But of course, sometimes things happen. You know, it comes back to a lot of the teachings within the Confident Medium course. You know, are you being hard on yourself? You know, do you focus on the good things or do you focus on bad things? Do you focus on the 90% that works well, the 95% that works well, or do you focus upon the 10% that doesn't work, or the 5% that doesn't work? What is your internal dialogue? Is it positive or is it negative? Are you beating yourself up, or are you saying, yeah, it's fine, it's the way it works? Because, you know, every reading can't be perfect. So yeah, if there's anything you can learn, by all means learn from it. But there's no point us beating ourselves up about it and flagellating ourselves and, you know, that didn't work, so I'm going to give myself penance for the fact it didn't work. So, you know, just accept it's normal. That's the key point to recognize. And then secondly, go with it. Don't be too hard on yourself. And, you know, now if every reading I did was lousy, or every demonstration I did for a while was lousy, then yeah, I've got to say, okay, I've got to take a step back and try and work out what's going on. But if it's just an occasional one-off, so be it. That's normal. So yeah, I'll take you back to the Confident Medium course. I'll take you back to, you know, giving yourself that feedback. Be kind. Other people won't always be that kind to you. There's a lot of people, critics out there who will throw stones. In fact, I did a demonstration not too long ago in the last few weeks. And on the way out, somebody said to one of the committee in the church, oh, I've been visiting spiritualist churches for 30 years and the medium tonight was lousy. And all the people who got messages told me how wonderful their messages were. And I sometimes think that mediumship is not a spectator sport. If you're not the one receiving the message, you don't know how good it is. And, you know, sometimes the messages are not that engaging to the rest of the audience. And sometimes we can all have a bad night or we can have an off night. I think there was a reasonable night, but hey. But, you know, you can't allow people's negativity to affect you because it will bring you down. It will. So, yeah, just go with it. Don't be too hard on yourself. That's what I would say. Alexandra, I agree with you. That's lovely to know. Good. Debbie, can you explain how we sense energy? You mentioned sensing the energy of our guides, but I don't understand how to do this. I feel I'm not understanding what this means. Sensing is clairsentience. It's feeling. It's feeling the energy. It's feeling the, you know, for example, I may sit with a guy, sit and invite a guide to blend with me. I'm using the guide example now. And I feel the guide come in, I feel a great deal of love. The guide's very loving. I feel it very soft, gentle energy, like a feminine energy. Gives me the feeling this guide is a woman or a female. I think, what are you here to help me with? And I sense compassion. So that's all feeling, that's all sensing. That's all what you're getting. Similarly, if you're doing mediumship, whenever I blend with a spirit person and I'm sensing into their personality, I'm sensing their age, all those things, it all works through the clairsentience. It's the psychic feeling. That's what we're talking about. So all mediumship ultimately is sensing energy, but the energy is then translated into feelings, imagery, or sometimes sounds. Most people, it's not actually hearing spirit. It's kind of an internal dialogue created, or it's internal sounds created in my experience. Very few mediums are what I call pure or true clairaudience, where they truly hear spirit and it's devastatingly accurate, like Gordon Higginson was, like Helen Hughes was, like Estelle Roberts was. Those mediums, they would hear it said and they could repeat it. Bill Smith, 52 Church Road, coming forward, connects to Betty, June and Ernest. Yes, that is amazing, because all you got to do is repeat what you hear. So that's what I mean by a pure or true clairaudient medium. But very few are like that. For the rest of us, it's the occasional word surfaces within our mind. It's like the energy brings up the word. So it's all of it is sensing energy. But what we're really talking about, it all works really through clairsentience. Clairsentience is the master psychic sense, master psychic faculty. But basically, it's the key one. It really is. So hopefully that helps understand it. Butone, are there different ways I can sit in the power if I find myself getting bored with the same routine? Not to say that spirit is boring me, but sometimes I need to switch things up for my own sake. Now, the thing is, I always say sitting in the power is not a beginner's meditation for this exact reason, because beginners will get absolutely bored with sitting in the power. So generally, when we teach beginners, we teach awareness circles, we give a lot of different variety of meditations to stimulate the psychic senses, to give people variety, to get their interest, to spark their interest. But ultimately, when you're looking to deepen and develop your mediumship, sitting in the power is the key. Sitting to blend and be with spirit is the key. Is it boring? I could understand why some people might say it is, especially if they've not developed that far. But ultimately, no time spent in the presence of spirit is ever wasted. So I think I've got it in my Sitting in the Power Part 3 video as to common issues with that beginner's encounter. And that is one of them. It's boring. It's boring. Why am I doing this all the time? It's boring. And if you are a beginner, I would recommend you find other meditations as well, because you need to mix and match it up. But really, are there different ways of doing sitting in the power? Well, there's a heck of a lot of sitting in the power meditations out there, but when I listen to them, they're not what I personally would call sitting in the power. So sitting in the power for me is a very specific type of meditation, and I do have a version of it on my channel for you to listen to, a stripped down version thereof. And sitting in the power is very simple. It's just blending, first of all, with your own soul, and then blending with the spirit world. We go to spirit through our own soul. Our own soul is the gateway that we connect to spirit with. Yes, there's lots of meditations with plinky plonky music where you're supposed to just sit and be, but that's not the same. Sit in the power is an attunement meditation where you attune, blend, and hold that connection. And that's why I'm saying it's not a beginner's meditation, because ultimately you've got to be able to attune and blend with spirit. And you've got to be willing to do it routinely to get the benefits. Hence, it's what I call more of an intermediate meditation. So yeah, I get where you're from. Check out other people's versions. You know, there's lots of other people who have done versions of Sit in the Power over the years. Lots of the Arthur Findlay College tutors have versions. You can get them from the Arthur Findlay College shop, from the SNU website. I know Glyn Edwards has got several versions of it. There's lots of other people's versions on YouTube. Check them out. Remember what I'm saying though. A lot of them, in my opinion, are not really sitting in the power. But there you go. I don't upset anybody, but that's the truth. You know, if you're not being invited to get into a space where you're blended and connected with spirit a state of attunement. It's not really sitting in the power. But yeah, I get where you're coming from. And I think when I first started my development, I found it hard to do sit in the power, if I'm honest, in my first year, because I wanted to do other things. When you first start this development journey, it's so exciting. There's so much variety out there, and you want to avail yourself of the whole lot. I get that. Of course, I get that. And we seem to have some very strange folk in tonight. Despite hiding them, they're coming back with slightly different names. Very irritating. But never mind. I can keep deleting them as often as they keep posting. And wish them well on their journey. So I was talking about sitting in the power, yeah. So yeah, check out the different versions. Check out different meditations. Do different things. Do different exercises. Beginners need variety. They thrive on variety. In fact, I've got a video coming out soon. I've just recently been away on a holiday, and when I go on holiday, I tend to make a bit of time in my schedule to record some more videos. So I've got another 3 videos recorded, and one of those will be coming out soon, and it's actually entitled, What Do You Need from a Teacher? And I explain that what beginners need is totally different from what intermediates to advanced need, because beginners' needs are different, and they need that variety. They need that excitement, they need that fun in their development, whereas intermediates to advanced move beyond that point. So there we have it. So check out that video will be coming out hopefully in the next couple of weeks. So yeah, worth checking out. So Peter, thank you very much for your super chat donation. It is much appreciated and gratefully received. Thank you. I don't know if you have a question to go with it. I can't see one. Okay, hallelujah. I've been going 2 months or more between given readings. Is that too much of a gap? I'm on my 2nd year of development, feel like I was way better when I first started developing. Now I've got a video for you there. The video is why does it feel like our mediumship is getting worse, or 7 reasons why it feels like our mediumship is getting worse. It's very common that when we first start developing, it feels strong, and then it seems to go a bit to pot, or it seems to be not as strong or not as good. Very common. So check out the reasons why. And generally, it's not negative. Things aren't going badly. It's just the nature of how your development is changing. It's the nature of how your work is changing as well. So it's important to recognize that. But also, you know, the thing is, people put pressure on themselves. You don't need to do that. You know, what I've seen in changes in the last 20 years. I started my development in 2001, so 21 years ago. And what I've seen change with development is people now, like some people are wanting to do readings every single day. I'll do 4 readings a day. You know, we had no social media when I started. It wasn't possible to work online. You were working in person in circles or classes or workshops. That was it. And you know, and the local spiritualist churches did 1 a month. So I was maybe, if you were lucky, you'd go to 2 classes a month to work and make a link. And some of those classes you wouldn't be making a link anyway. So it'd be monthly between links. Or you go on a course, and it was on the course where you got to work a bit harder. So to go 2 months without doing a reading or without doing a link, it's not a problem. As long as you're doing other things as well, sitting in the power and other things, practices as well would help. But generally do what you can when you can. But if you're also going to circles and classes and courses, and then you're doing practice readings, then you don't need to do them so frequently. You know, I'm amazed that some teachers are asking people between classes to do 20 practice readings. It's like, why? It's bonkers. You know, it'll disillusion them or burn them out. It's, you know, I don't get it personally. You know, there's a reason. The work we do has to fit in with our lifestyle, has to fit in with our time, all of that. And the thing is, more practice doesn't necessarily make you a better medium. What makes you a better medium is the unfoldment of your potentials. And what makes you a better medium is focused practice that will help unfold you. Yeah, I know people who can go to a huge number of classes, and if those classes aren't good, they'll never learn. They'll never really progress beyond the level. For example, I don't want to name names again, I won't, but I know many teachers whose classes only move to a certain point, And nobody who attends the classes goes on to become working mediums. Nobody goes on to really develop and push beyond, because the exercises are not pushing people. Everything's too easy. It's almost like what we call a mother's meeting. Everyone goes there for a chat and a social, and they're not really working. They're not really progressing. It's not really designed to get you where you're going. But some of the greatest leaps you can make is through your own introspection, your own self-development, your own sitting with spirit. All those different practices can help move you forward. In fact, I have a course called Spiritual Self-Development. And spiritual self-development is all about the work we can do on self to spiritualize ourselves. And the spiritual self-development can make a huge difference to our own development. It's not trendy to talk about spiritual self-development. But what I see people who do, you have to have theory. And a lot of my teachings are all about giving you the theory, absolutely. And then you have to put it into practice. But the practice has to be focused and good practice. But ultimately, it's the work you do on self, spiritualizing self, that will make the biggest difference to your mediumship in the long run. So spiritual self-development is key. So if you want to help move forward, do check that out. Absolutely. You know, you've got to become a better human being. Spiritual development and the development of mediumship should make us better human beings. You know, there should be less backbiting in the movement. There should be less people being jealous or having competition, because if we're spiritually developing ourselves, there's room in the world for everybody. Absolutely. And we shouldn't compare. Comparing is only going to result in pain and suffering for us. So these are the points that in the course I talk about you need to be in the mindset of helping everybody. Oh dear. It seems that we've got more chaos coming in. I don't know if it's obviously one person who's just been stupid. So yeah, so spiritual self-development will really help you. B-Tone, thanks for your understanding. I'm glad it's not just me that struggles with getting restless with sitting in the power. Yeah, I get that. I see that. And with my meditation and sitting for spirit course, there's 4 meditations in there. I should probably pop that back on screen. Along the top there, meditation sitting for spirit. There's 4 meditations within that. The first one is your classic sitting in the power. The second one is a slightly different version of sitting in the power, not called sit in the power, which I kind of developed as an alternative. And I must get that out as a separate audio meditation. So you don't need to buy the course to get it. But it is in the course. And then there's another meditation within that course where you can learn to meet your guides and get to blend with your guides. So the question that was asked earlier on, how can I get to know my guides? Through using meditation. There's one within that course I forgot to mention. And finally, the last meditation within that course is all about spiritual development and spiritualizing self and being a better person, basically. So that's those. And, you know, so there's 3 different meditations in there. If you've got my standard sit in the power, you can go and check those out and you get 3 different more. That would possibly help you as well. Alexandra, that's a good course. Now, I'm not sure which one's a good course, but I've mentioned quite a few, so hopefully, hopefully they're all good courses. The feedback on all of them has really been positive, so that's good as well. So we seem to have run out of questions. Has anybody got any more questions you want me to answer? If you have, pop them in the chat box. Any more questions? All the courses are great. I was referring to the spiritual one at that point. Wonderful. Thank you, Alexandra. Yeah, spiritual self-development. I like that course. And if you are wondering about my courses, actually, let me just tell you the route that I developed them as. So the first course I did was Great Mediums of the Past, because I think we can learn such a lot from great mediums of the past. But then the one I really wanted to do was spiritual self-development, because spiritual self-development will take you and your mediumship further forward than, as I say, just doing practice alone. Then the 4 along the top: meditation, sitting for spirit, fundamentals of mediumship, getting better evidence, better private readings, and there's another one not shown there, better platform mediumship. They're all progressive and build on top of each other. The first 3, meditation and sitting for spirit, the fundamentals of mediumship, and getting better evidence, were all designed to build a strong foundation. And the confident medium sits in there with getting better evidence and better private readings as kind of it's more advanced. It's for people already doing some mediumship, but it's kind of designed to teach you not to lose confidence, to understand what confidence is and how to get it, but not be overconfident. That's important to recognize. Okay, Marilyn, do you offer live courses? I do offer live courses, but what I tend to do with all these courses is I run them once. I only run the course once because I get so drilled into it and get so deep into it that the course has its own energy, and the quality of what comes through is always best first time round. If I repeat it again, what happens is I'm just pulling up the slides and then delivering it from memory. It's just recalled memory, which is not as powerful as when I'm in the inspiration of doing the course in the first place. So I do the courses once, I record them, I make them available, and basically they stay available, and they're probably not much different from being in the class with me anyway, to be honest. Because a great deal of people, when I do run a course, possibly 50% attend live, the other 50% get the recordings. So it's just the same really as getting the recordings. So my next course that I'll be running will be the one on guides and helpers later in the year, maybe early next year. So I'll see where the book's at, basically, to where I factor that one in. But I don't offer practice. I don't do circles. I don't offer practice just because I don't have the time at the moment to do that. So hopefully that's important to recognize. So as I say, I'm writing a book at the moment. I've actually got 3 or 4 books that I need to get down and get out there. So that's where my focus is, rather than running live circles. There's lots and lots of people run live circles and classes. So yeah, I could be another person in the mix doing it, but there's so much out there at the moment. It's a crowded marketplace. Debbie, have you ever doubted yourself as you were learning? I think everybody doubts themselves. There's something called the imposter syndrome, which is very common as well, which I talk about in my Confident Medium course, whereby, you know, we're always expecting somebody to come along and find us out that we're not really a medium. You know, we're always expecting it to go horribly wrong, and there you go, you're not a medium. And it doesn't happen like that. But there's always a little bit in our mind wondering, is this just luck or what's happening? So yeah, absolutely, it's natural to doubt ourselves, but we shouldn't doubt ourselves to the point whereby we stop ourselves from working. That's what I'm trying to say. Hopefully that makes sense. So yes, you should doubt yourself, but not in a negative way. You know, sometimes I may be working in a church, and I get sort of, I'm singing a song, a hymn, and just before it's about to demonstrate, and I get someone come close, and all this information comes in. I think, God, that can't be right. How can that be true? And you think, and you start doubting it, but you just go with it. I've got it, I'll give it, I'll work it, and it's taken. And you go, okay, yeah, it's right. So it's natural, even a working medium for many, many years, to be able to doubt some things as well. Absolutely. Absolutely. B-Tone, in a spiritualist church, how does one become a reverend? And all reverends mediums in a spiritualist church. So in the UK, we do not have reverends. It's a US thing, I believe, or a Canadian thing. And it's becoming, I guess, a reverend, or in the UK, we have ministers of religion. To become a minister in the UK, a minister of the SNU, you have to go on their training scheme. You have to be invited. You can't even just apply and do it. You've got to be a minister. It's an invitation only. You can become an officiant by doing the training scheme and doing the training for officiantship. An officiant is like a junior minister, still able to take services such as funerals, weddings, naming services and the like. But a minister, if you like, has got more experience and gets the better title. But that is invitation only in the UK. So you have to have the training. You have to be invited generally. And it's usually not easy. I don't know how it works in the US specifically, but I'd assume it would be something similar. And generally a reverend or a minister within a church would be there to help meet the needs of the congregation. They'd be on call. You know, if people have got any problems, they would take them to them, ask them questions and the like. So, but how to become one, I'm no expert because I'm not an officiant or a minister. So I don't really know in depth how it works, but I do know that in the UK with the SNU, you've got to do a number of courses. You have to go on the minister and officiant training, and you have to then be assessed, taking services, and only when you're of the required standard are you appointed. And then you've got to maintain continuing professional development. And over time, if you're an officiant for a long time, you may be invited to become a minister. That's the UK. So I can only really talk about what I'm experienced with, which is the UK a little bit. Butone, thank you for answering all my questions. I have quite a few today. You're welcome. No problem. Cindy, Martin, thank you for your courses in mediumship. I've learned so much. So wonderful to hear. That's fabulous. Peter, do you have a special routine or practice to recharge your batteries, like culture or environment or spiritual? So when we weren't doing mediumship, when we stop working, if you like, our batteries instantly recharge. We all have a fixed amount of power we have. I can't demonstrate for more than an hour and a half generally. Beyond that, it becomes very flaky and I wouldn't want to do it. If I'm doing readings, I can't do more than a few hours of readings in a day. And then, if you like, my batteries are depleted. But what recharges my batteries? Just time away, doing other things, living life, all aspects of life. And that includes socializing, that includes the cultural, that includes spending time in nature and just doing what you want to do and just doing other things, even just doing other chores, other work around the house. All of it, if you like, we drain our spiritual battery, and as soon as we take time away from it, it starts to recharge again, just like a power bank, if you will. So you don't have to do anything in particular to do that. You just, whatever works for you, whatever works for you. But if we talk about recharging our batteries in terms of if we wear ourselves out, and we all need a holiday, we all need a break, we all need a bit of rest and relaxation, yeah. I find nature is very good. I love being in nature. I love walking in nature. I love being with the birds, the animals. That really works for me. The trees, all of that I really enjoy. I love photographing nature as well. So that's something. And when I'm doing things like that, it's an outlet and it's totally different. And yeah, I enjoy that. But we all do, going to the theatre or going to see a movie, all those different things we can do. Absolutely. Kendall K, what song, loud or quiet? I'm not sure what you mean, Kendall. I'm not sure if I was talking about a song. But if you want to add a bit into that question, I will try and answer. I'm not sure what you mean. Debbie, I feel being in nature brings me peace. Absolutely. And for some people, I know the worst thing in the world for them is being in nature. So we're all different. We're all different. And that's what I love. We all have to find what works for us, both within our spiritual work, within our mediumship, within our development, and within life itself, because we're all different. What works for me may not work for you. Absolutely. Cindy, I used to feel spirit while sitting in the power as a light brushing on my cheek, though lately I no longer feel this while in the power. Is this something to be concerned about? No, not at all. When I used to sit in the power, I used to feel like a hand on my shoulder very strongly as a calling card from one of my guides. And then that just disappeared altogether. And I was quite sad, really, because I really enjoyed it. It was so strong. It was like, whoa, I know spirit's with me. And then I didn't get it. And it's like, oh, what's happened? They've gone. But they haven't gone. It's just, they're saying, you don't need it anymore. In the early days, you needed a lot of reassurance. So yeah, we gave you the reassurance. But now, you don't need it. You don't need it. So yeah. So don't be concerned about it. Just accept that all things will change. Change within our development and mediumship is constant. The video I was talking about 7 reasons why it may feel your mediumship's getting worse. The whole point of that video is to explain that you're developing and changing. And as you develop and change, your mediumship changes. It's like shifting sands within our development and mediumship. Everything keeps moving and we've got to adapt to it. If we sit still, it will be a challenge. We have to keep moving and adapting. And that's life. Life is constant change. So go with it. Go with it. So hopefully that helps. Tony, technology is spreading the message of spiritualism, but has it been a hindrance too? That's an interesting question. That's a good debate, isn't it? Technology is just a tool. That's all it is. You know, I can talk to you now over YouTube. I'm doing a live now and we've got, you know, certain number of people in the room, 30 or more people in the room listening to me. Yeah, 500 or 700 people probably watch these live streams over the course of a month. My words can reach a lot of people. You know, that's powerful. That's good. You know, back in the day, if you had to try and get those number of people to come to you, you're going to struggle. So technology is very powerful. Technology can get a message across to people. But of course, it comes with a downside as well, because there's a lot of noise. There's some stuff online that I come across, whether on Facebook or YouTube or wherever, that is just crazy stuff. But maybe that's for the right people. You know, if some people probably think my teachings are crazy. I try to keep teachings down to earth, practical and pragmatic without any fluff. But, you know, I hear other people saying, oh, if you go into trance, it will kill you. And that's rubbish. It's never killed me yet. And it's never killed a heck of a lot of other people yet. So, you know, things like that, teachings that do not make sense or fit with people, I think are dangerous, really. People telling people to develop only in total darkness, to sit in total darkness, to do circles in total darkness. It's bonkers, absolute bonkers. And, you know, if there's a lot of stuff, there's a lot of noise, finding the wheat amongst the chaff can be hard. Absolutely. So, you know, Zoom with COVID-19 and the pandemic, a lot of places had to shut, forced to shut. Everyone went onto Zoom. And Zoom's powerful. You know, Zoom can bring people together from all over the world. Zoom can take mediumship services and demonstrations to parts of the world that it didn't exist in before. It's fabulous. Wherever you are in the world, you can access now spiritualist services. You can access demonstrations of mediumship. But equally, the downside is that some of the work on Zoom is not of the greatest standard. Zoom is a harder environment to work in my experience. When I taught the Better Platform Mediumship course, I teach about the differences between working in Zoom and working in person. And it's harder in Zoom. There's less power, less energy to work in it. Makes it hard for the medium. And I see a lot of mediums will just go with whatever comes up. And a lot of mediums I talk to say they don't like working in Zoom, or they find it hard to work in Zoom. And I feel Zoom keeps us very honest as mediums, because our mediumship has to be good and we have to have the core skills to do it well. So yes, it's a double-edged sword. It can be a huge benefit, and there can be challenges with it. I did do a video on the past, present and future of mediumship, where I talk about a lot of these issues. It's a talk I do. It's on my channel under talks and addresses. Do check it out. I'll post the link to it again when I put this video up, and I go through all the videos I mention, and then I get them all together and put them all in the comments and descriptions. I normally do it in the first 24 hours, so I'll add that one as well, so you can check it out. Kendall, I'm still not understanding what your questions are about, I'm afraid. Okay. Beta, I'm starting to realize that the more patient I am with my mediumship journey, the easier it becomes, because I'm trusting spirit and not trying to control the process. Now, that's quite a profound insight you've got there. I like that. Because don't be in a rush. Be patient. Allow it to unfold naturally at its own pace, and accept wherever you are and whatever is happening. Don't compare yourself to others. Don't try and compete with others. The only person you've got to compete with is you. As long as you're giving your own development 100%, I don't like 110%. You can't give any more than 100%, but provide you're giving your own development all the attention, time, dedication it needs. You can't do more. You know, yeah, someone's going to be better than you. Absolutely. Someone's going to have different skills to you. Well, you know, the rose doesn't compare itself to the sunflower, doesn't compare itself to the daisy. Each one has their own special qualities in the garden. So, you know, we've just got to be us, stand tall and grow the way we're meant to be. Absolutely. And trust, absolutely. Trust spirit, trust the process, and trust that it will unfold in its own natural way. So yeah, quite a profound insight. I like that. Debbie, thank you for teaching us and answering our questions. It's really helpful. I'm glad you're getting so much benefit from it. Jane, this question answer has been extremely helpful. Thank you so much for your time. You're very welcome. As I say, if you are enjoying it, do hit the like button. If you're watching this on the replay and you're enjoying it, hit the like button and leave me a comment. If you like my teachings, remember to subscribe to my channel. As I say, I will have a few videos coming out over the coming months that I've recorded that I'll be putting out there. And also, there's another video I'm intending to put out there as well about the future of spiritualist churches and spiritualism. So that's a lot longer talk that I did a couple of months ago that I want to get out there as well. So yeah, subscribe to the channel. And if you do want to support the channel as well, do check out my website and store. My new store is on the website now. They're not separate. Have a look at my videos, my teaching videos, my courses, my study program. Check out the products there. There will be a sale coming up very soon as well, where you can get good discounts. And yeah, if you want to donate as well, you can use Super Chat or you can donate through PayPal Me. The little ticker along the bottom every now and again will give the PayPal Me address. It's also pinned at the very top of the chat box as well. If you look at the chat box, there's a pinned comment there with it on as well. And you can use Super Thanks, which if you want the replay, you can click on the Super Thanks. If you want to buy me a coffee, you're more than welcome. So does anybody else have any more questions, or have we come to the end? Are we nearly at the end of the questions? I cannot see any more. So in the absence of any more questions, then I shall bring it to a close. So yeah, so as I say, do hit the like button, do subscribe, do comment as well. All of that helps the algorithm on YouTube. So I'm going to thank you all for coming, and I do hope you got a lot from today's Q&A. I do hope you've enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you all again in the next one. Bye for now. Take care.